Video recording.
Put 5 minutes of you drinking water in the video.
It's not like I start every single video, so I just take a drink of my water and then I just put it down and I start filming. True life with MTG Goddess. Alright, what are you ready? I should ask you if you're ready. Okay, cool. What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy.
I'm Demetri.
Demetri has his own channel.
I do, I have a channel. It doesn't have a fun name. It's just Demetri Kissel on YouTube.
Alright, if you leave any comments for Demetri, he prefers he, him, his pronouns, so do that, because that's important. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a video. Like, I was like, I want to film a video with Demetri, but I was like, I don't know what to film, and then I thought of this idea about how, like, you said that you were like, oh, I feel like after I play Magic with you guys, like, he's like, Tracy, you've made me such a better Magic player, and then I melted, because I was like, oh, wow, I did that.
I'm better at Magic.
You know, yeah, and I think that's really cool.
Like, in the last couple of drafts, I've been facing you.
Yeah.
You've
been going, like, 2-2, like,
yeah.
And everything.
It's really aggravating because Theo, the guy who runs our Magic thing at the local gaming store here, he'll show me the thing because I told him I want to get better, and he's like, you're like 1 under where the prizes start, and I'm really sorry about that. And I'd be like, damn.
At that point, it's just a matter of like just statistics and the way that it works out.
Yeah.
Like if you'd won another match, like you would have gotten to
or like
and...
the people who beat me played better people than I
right.
did, so their statistics like.
Yeah, there's such big percentages that go into that. Like a lot of people don't realize it. Like how if you. Like how like top 8s work and stuff, like you may have like a variety of people who go like 2-2, but only certain people get into the top 8 or like whatever the top half is or something like that because of they beat you know, a person who's like you said like is better than is like doing better that night or something like that. So there's a bunch of statistics that I don't think a lot of people realize just how much like goes into that.
Theo's great though.
Yeah, Theo's
really
really
like,
nice.
let me go over your deck with you.
And he's like, he's so nice. Like, I think that's like a really huge part. It's like people being nice to you, like when you're in the community, especially if you're into like the like. I mean, draft isn't like super competitive, but it is still like at like the more like competitive level. And like how if you go to that and you don't have like a supportive system, like the way that our draft works is people, our guy Theo who runs it, like he'll give like new players like cards to like start, which is really awesome. Like gives them a bunch of promos and things like that.
Yeah,
they're not expensive, but it's just like a really nice thing to like, kind of get you into the game.
My first night, he was like, "Here's 5 promos. Thanks for playing." And I was like, "All right."
I don't know if I ever got that actually, so I'm a little sad about that, but it's okay. I have a lot of Magic cards.
I first started drafting up here, and like that was also where I met Tracy for the first time. It was great because then I stalked her on the interweb.
It was actually the funniest thing is like when I used to go on Tumblr, I don't go on Tumblr anymore, but I like went on and I posted my videos and Demetri was like, so like your face, and I saw you on the internet and I was like, how did you find me? And I got so freaked out, and he was like, oh no, like you posted it on Tumblr, I've been following your blog for a while. And I was like, well, that makes me like stalk me, and I was like, how on earth would you find my Tumblr?
I was like, how do I tell her that I'm pretty sure we met in real life without seeming like I stalked her?
That was really funny.
It was great. It was great. She doesn't post anymore. It makes me sad.
I used to be really active, and then I just got out of the habit of it, and I just don't post on Tumblr anymore. But
yeah, I started drafting here. That's where I met Tracy and our other friend Lee.
That's great.
And it was my first draft, and they were there, and I was like, it's my first draft, and everyone was really great at like giving advice, and like when I got on my cards, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. People came over to help me deck build. It was great, and like after every match, people talked about, here's what was good about your deck, here's what was bad, like here's your pool's pretty good. Why don't you run this instead of this? And it really helped. And then the next few drafts, I've been really thinking more critically about my game and not just like I want these cards, so I'm going to take them, and more like I want to do well in this draft, so here's the cards that I'm going to take.
Yeah. I have a lot of things to respond to that with actually. But first thing I want to start with is I watched my one of my good friends draft Modern Masters, actually the second one that came out in the past summer, and he drafted mono. There's a lot of issues with Modern Masters too. Let's not talk about it. But he was drafting it, and he drafted mono red like beatdown, basically like very aggressive, like nothing past 4 mana, and he didn't draft like for the rare. Like a lot of times when people draft like a very expensive sort of set like Modern Masters, they're like, well, duh, I'm taking the rare. But like I remember I was watching one of my friends draft like Fulminator Mages. That card's really not good in draft at all, actually. It's like, it's really weird when people talk about cards and how they evaluate them. Like, some cards are good in certain formats, but not others. And so, like, he was like, Fulminator Mages awful in draft because everyone runs like non-basics. Like in Modern Masters 2 there was like the Ravnica bounce lands, I think, like that was it for the fancy lands. There really wasn't anything, but he drafted it for money. And so like that's like a really huge thing, is like when you draft, like I feel like that's a very like new player thing though, is to draft like for money, or I need this card or something like that, rather than like what's the best card in the pack. A lot of times what you'll find is in a draft scenario, like the best card in the pack isn't necessarily the rare. It's a lot of times like people are like, oh, it's a rare so it must be good, and I was like, I don't know.
A lot of that is like, if you win consistently, you're gonna get packs. You know you're gonna get packs at the end.
Exactly.
You can focus the draft on, let me build a good deck because I get packs later. If you're a new player and you know you're not going to win packs at the end, or you're a player who doesn't win consistently, you're like, I'm going to draft for the money in the pack because I'm not going to get a pack after this.
That's actually really good. I've never thought about that before. That's actually really cool. But yeah, so
even in Magic.
My one friend who did
I don't like Modern and Legacy. Sorry, continue.
My one friend who made the mono red deck, again, didn't draft any rares, any mythics, I don't think, but made this amazing deck and went like 4-0 or something. And then so again, he got packs or whatever. So like, I definitely think breaking that sort of like thing of like, oh, okay, like it's okay to like not draft the rare or something. And like, it's not to say that the rare, sometimes you do draft the rare. Like we were just talking about Shadows over Innistrad, like cards. Like if you draft if you get any of the planeswalkers and stuff, like you're gonna take the planeswalker because they're gonna kill people. They're not gonna win you games. But
that's
like
true in almost every set. I think
there's a lot of good planeswalkers.
There's not a set where that wouldn't be true, because even if it's not great for draft, you still want to take the planeswalker unless. I can't think of a situation where you would draft.
It's like Tybalt.
Yeah, but is Tybalt in a set where you would draft him?
I mean,
I don't think he was ever in a set.
No, he was in something. He was in that event deck, but he was also
he was in the dual deck.
He was in something else though. I don't remember what.
Was he in regular Innistrad? I know he was there.
Yeah. Was it Avacyn Restored? I feel like it was Avacyn Restored. Could be making that up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
guess.
I have to look some after the video.
If you drafted and then you opened Tybalt, then that would be the one situation where you pass it.
Probably.
Although he might be good in limited. He hits, right? I forgot what he does.
I don't think it matters because I feel like he's just so bad that it's
you just pass him for like a Thunderbolt. It's fine.
Just anything really. I feel
the basic land. Just take
the basic land. Okay, I feel like I was gonna respond to other stuff about your comment. And now I don't remember what you said earlier.
People sat down and helped me.
Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's something that I feel like is a very difficult thing to gauge, because, like, I consider myself, like, I guess a more experienced player, so, like, I've been playing Magic for quite a while, yeah. And, like, how, like, if I'm playing against someone and they're brewing, like, say I'm playing in Modern, and, like, I'm playing against a deck where there's, like, I'm playing against this kid or something like that, and, like, you know, they're playing this deck that's, like, not a credible deck, and they're playing with a bunch of commons and uncommons and things like that. And so, like, that's a really tough situation. Like, I really avoid talking about money on my channel because it's very difficult to talk about, and I feel like it's very awkward. But, like, you know, trying to make, like, them the best deck that they can, like, in their sort of, like, situation or something like that. But, like, in a draft scenario, like, a lot of times, the way that I feel like drafts work is the more you draft, like, the better at it you just get. Yeah. And I feel, like, a lot more comfortable with draft now, because a lot of the way that knowing how draft works is, like, knowing the set as well as learning what cards are good in draft. Like, you know, there's, like, a couple of, like, things, like, 1-mana 1/1s are typically not good unless it's like Sludge Crawler. That card's awesome. Do you remember Sludge Crawler? That's the 1-mana 1/1 for 2. You can pump it to give a +1/+1. Yeah. That card's insane. That card was crazy.
There's a bunch in Shadows over Innistrad that are 1/1s for 1 that are actually good.
Yeah. There's that 1-mana 1/1 white one where if you have Delirium, it has like Vigilance or something like that.
Yeah, and Lifelink, I think, or Flying or something.
Yeah.
And any of the ones with Skulk.
Yeah,
because then they can't do anything about it. You can just go in with the 1/1 constantly. I mean, I wouldn't discount the 1/1s too much, because a lot of the times people plan for the bigger things, but if you have a bunch of little things that you got out fast, you get them down fast.
I think it depends on the deck, and I think it depends on the card, because like if you're talking about it depends on the set, because I feel like I agree. I think Shadows over Innistrad has a bunch of good ones.
Yeah, Shadows over Innistrad has good ones, like the Eldrazi from Oath and Zendikar. Don't bother taking the 1/1s because you're gonna get out the spawners anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And yeah, but like Shadows of Innistrad has some good stuff, and
yeah.
you want sack materials.
Yeah, I think that
I really like Shadows of Innistrad.
Yeah, I really like Shadows of Innistrad. It's super great. But yeah, like the whole helping idea, I feel like a lot of times it's really hard because you don't want to come off as condescending, because I have felt like that so many times. Like if I'm trying to give advice to someone, I always feel like I sound like, yeah, by the way, I'm playing Magic for a while, and it's not like I'm saying that in the way, it's the way that I feel like I'm being like, hey, these are corrections I think you make. So a lot of times I remain silent, and that's not a good thing, and I shouldn't do that, but I think a lot of players are in that position, and definitely leave me comments down below if you felt like that, because I feel like that constantly.
It was great, when I started drafting, and afterwards they'd be like, hey, do you want to talk about your deck? And I'd be like, yeah, help me with my deck.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, here's what's good about how you built it, what's bad. And they're like, sometimes it's just, it's just a bad matchup. Like your deck is as good as your pool's gonna make it, and you just got a bad matchup, or you misplayed, or you just weren't getting a good hand. And
it's various. There's so many factors that go into it. Like sometimes it's not like your deck, and a lot of times, like I'm guilty of this, I'll be like, it was just, you know, I just had a bad deck or something like that. Okay, guys, like, I actually didn't tell them about this experience. So I was at the pre-release, right? And I was salty enough because my boyfriend John opened up a promo Avacyn. And it was so funny. He opens up the box and he looks over at me, and I look over at him and I said, you opened up a promo Avacyn, didn't you? And he was like,
no, before he went like, don't be mad. And then he put it down.
He was like, don't be mad, and he put it down, and I was like, we're not dating. And he's like,
okay, but she also opened a great promo, and then I opened
Elusive Tormentor, guys.
I got a blue-black land.
Oh yeah, that was pretty miserable. It's really pretty.
It's a pretty land, but it's
you
like...
don't want it as your promo. That's a very terrible promo. Like,
I got really mad about the promo.
Yeah,
I didn't
get that too.
I love the pre-release. I like playing sealed and limited. They're like my favorite formats because I feel like a lot of that is
balanced.
Yeah, everything's more balanced. It's much more about luck. And I felt really mad at the pre-release because I did well, but like I didn't pull anything that I'm gonna put into my other decks. I pulled like 2 cards that made it into other decks. Yeah. And everything else was like, well, I like these cards, but I don't play standard, so.
But anyways, what I was saying is that's okay, we get off on a tangent. But so it was I was playing against Demetri, and I was looking at your deck earlier, and you made a really sweet deck. And like when Demetri makes sweet decks, I'm like, Demetri, I'm so proud of you. Like, your deck was sweet. Like your deck was really good. Really and you think you did like Black Blue Zombies, right?
Yes.
Like Zombie Tribal. It was really sweet, and actually.
One Delirium trigger that I didn't think very hard about the Delirium trigger, but I managed to put enough in there that it triggered off really well. And I was like,
that's another really interesting thing with this set is getting that off to Delirium.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was looking at your deck, and I remember like when we were sitting down for deck building, and deck building is always a really interesting, like we were doing at the pre-release, and like we had 50 minutes, and I'm not usually used to that. I'm used to like 30-minute, like make your deck in 30 minutes. That's how my local game store does it. So 50 minutes, I had a lot more time, and it was great. Like I got to be like, you know, I was actually funny. Like I think John was sitting, I was sitting here, John was sitting here, and Demetri was sitting here, so it was like next to them.
I was across from John,
yeah, you guys were across from each other, and I remember I was like, Demetri, I was like, what are you thinking of going? And you made the deck that if I had your pool, like that's what I would have done. And like I definitely think that was the right choice. So I thought that was really sweet.
And I recognized it right away. Like
good.
It's one of the things is when you play more, you start to recognize, oh, I have a lot of these cards in this color that's good, so I need to use that. And
exactly. And that's definitely like a thing I said about knowing the set and knowing what cards are going to be good. Like a 3-mana 3/2 flyer is just good. That's just good value. Like a 2-mana like kill spell that kills like destroy target tapped creature. Murderous Compulsion is just really good. Like there's just cards that you recognize that you're like, wow, this card's insane.
And then that sleep paralysis.
That card's insane.
Everyone hated those. I was like sleep paralysis. I kept pulling the sleep paralysis out of my packs, and I'm like, every one of those is going in.
Yes.
And I played every one of them in every game, and every time I did, people were like, you gotta stop with that. And I'm like,
no, you had 3 out at one time against me. I was a jar of salt, and this goes into my salt point. So basically, after our match, I was so mad because I was mad at my pool. I wasn't mad at Demetri. Like, I don't get mad at like my opponent. I'm just like, unless they're like mean, in which case I'm like, you're a mean person. Go away. But like I wasn't mad at Demetri, so like I remember I was like I stood up and I was like I need some air, and it was freezing outside, and I like walked up the stairs and John was like, do you need me to come out after you? And I was like, yeah, you can if you want. He was like so gentle about the situation, and
John was like, I'll go take care of Tracy.
And And then we're sitting on the stoop or whatever, and he's like, I've never had to console a girlfriend about magic cards before. Because all of his girlfriends that he's had in the past, he never gave a magic card before, so. I had like no removal. I had like 2 murderous compulsions and like the Bound by Moonsilver, which is the better pacifism, and like that was straight up it. I was very salty. So like
my deck had a very obvious weakness though. I had 1 flyer. No, I had 2 flyers.
Yeah.
So anytime I went up with someone who had a lot of flyers, which was
or round 1, I killed you.
Yeah, because you had the flyers out.
So many flyers.
If I couldn't get my stuff out fast enough to do damage before they got flyers out, I was like, well, that's just game because I don't have blockers.
And sometimes that just happens.
Which is what happened against like I don't like.
Yeah.
He had 100 flyers and he was just like, I'm just gonna fly at you, and I'm like, well, okay.
I can't answer that. My card, it's okay. But yeah, like I have this weird thing where like if you beat me and it doesn't come off, it did not come off that night, but when you beat me I get really excited because I'm like, my precious baby, I have taught you so much. Like I just think like when you said that to me when you were like, Tracy, you've made me such a better Magic player, I just got like so like, wow, like I freaking did that. Like that's like incredible. Like I think if you can have an influence on like, you know, and you don't have to like, it's not a lot of times like doing something like, you know, that much excess. Like I would go through your decks and you'd be like, okay, like you would recognize that your deck wasn't performing a certain way that you wanted it to without like spending like a ton of money. You were like, help me make this better without it being like $1,000.
We do this in Commander a lot because Commander is really the format that I play a lot of the time, and I put together decks and I was like, Tracy, this deck isn't doing things that I want it to do. What's wrong with it?
And recognizing
like, this card isn't good because of this, and there's this isn't doing enough for how much mana it costs.
And the explanations I feel like are really important to be like, okay, why isn't this card good? Because like sometimes like if you get like deck advice from people are like, okay, this card's just bad, and it's like, well, why is it bad? Like I need to know like the reason about why this card is not considered good over this card or something.
I was thinking of you. So earlier today, our other friend Nikki and I were going through a box of cards that were donated to the gaming club. They were super old and super bad.
Yes.
And we were going through all of them, and we were like, these are awful. And it's like recognizing why those are awful now because of the things that I've learned from playing with you guys, and you going through and being like, this is bad because of this. It's like, this is awful. This doesn't do anything. This costs too much mana for what it does. This is it doesn't answer to this. It's awful.
And again, recognizing those things is such a matter of playing with people who are better than you, basically, and playing with people who can recognize those things. And the whole thing when you were saying before about how you would go up to people afterwards and be like, can you check my deck really quick and just see if out of the cards that I drafted or whatever, like, is this the best thing I could have done? And like, I'll do that all the time. Like my one friend Mike who I draft with is really good at Magic, and like I'll look every time I make my deck. I'm like, Mike, can you just look over my deck? And like,
he looks tired all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I play against him sometimes. He always looks exhausted, and he always completely kills me.
He's really good at Magic. He's really good at draft. But
one time he beat me while he was playing another game on his 3DS. And I was like, okay,
like Fire Emblem on his 3DS, and so he's really obsessed with it. When we went on our way to a tournament, he was like sitting in the back and he was like playing on his little DS.
He drafted while he was playing. We were playing our game and he was doing that, and I was just like, all right, I did this and that, and he was like, all right, here's my response, and I'd be like, well, all right, and then I scooped.
He's really good at Magic.
But he's not cocky about it either.
No, he's not cocky about it, and that's
if you ask him for help, he'll sit down and be like, all right, this is good, this is bad, and here's why.
He's a really nice guy. I like Mike a lot. He's a really good friend of mine.
I just feel bad because he seems tired all the time.
He works a lot. He works like full time, and he's like
he works full
24 or something, and he's
and then he comes and plays Magic until midnight.
Yeah, so, he's like I feel bad for him. He works like full time, but he works like more than full time, so it's like it's a lot of hours. But anyways, so I think like acknowledging the fact that like even if you are good at Magic, like I think being like, okay, I'd still like your opinion on something like that. Again, I think that goes back to the cockiness thing. Like I'd like to think I know quite a bit of Magic, but I'll still ask people for advice. I'd still be like, hey, what do you think about like this or something like that? Like
Theo asks people for advice on his deck, and he runs the event. So.
Yeah, and he's been playing Magic for quite a while. Like he's been playing Magic for like over 10 years or something. He's playing for a while, so I think like acknowledging if you are a better player, like I think it's on both sides. Is if you understand that you want to get better and you want to grow, because we're all growing. Yeah. To be like, okay, I'm not that experienced, help me out. But then at the same end, if you are good at Magic, being like, hey, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, there was a time where I was like, I decided I wanted to get better at draft and I wanted to start winning prizes, and I was like, okay, like Tracy and our other friends in draft, tell me how to get better at draft so that I can win prizes. And it was great.
Yeah, I think like one interesting thing is I was talking to one of my friends who I talk about actually here a little bit on top of my friend Craig, who is very good at Magic, top 8s PPTQs like all the time. Like this kid is like impressive. Like in the past month, he top 8'd like I think every single PPTQ that he went to for like 4 or 5 PPTQs, and I'm like, Craig, stop being so good at Magic. Like, what do you? And then I said, I was like, I'll ask you a question. I was like, how good do you think I am at Magic? And he's like, I think you're about above average, but you still have room to grow, of course. And I was like, I think, and a part of that too is I think I got into Modern like. Oh my gosh, it's been like almost a year since I got into Modern. That's so crazy to think about. Oh my gosh, like it's April and I got into it like in June. Like that's when I started my YouTube channel. That's the weirdest thing to think about. But anyways, so he was like, I think you're above average because you want to get better and because you ask for help. And like watching Magic, I'm so guilty of not watching more Magic, and I totally 100% should. I'm just really busy, so it's like trying to
I try, but like. Whenever they post the videos of the Pro Tour, it's like 8 hours long, and it's like I'm not gonna sit here and watch this for 8 hours.
You know what I do is that they'll post like the Pro Tour usually in like here's day 1 and day 2, but I usually watch it per round, and rounds are like like their max gonna be like 15 minutes or something like that. So I watch it per round, and I'll do it before I'm getting ready. I'll be putting my makeup on, and I'll be like watching the Pro Tour, like that's what I'll be doing in the morning. So
I watch like when we go to draft or when we play Commander and I don't have a game, I'll watch other people play.
That's
really
good. Important, yeah. You don't have to watch pros. You really don't. Like if you,
just watch other people. Even if they're not good, if you recognize what they're doing and what they could be doing.
Absolutely. I do this all the time where like I'll see plays and I'll be like, hey, why did you make that exact play? Like, could you explain to me your thinking? That is something I think is one of the most important things is when someone asks you why you made a certain play, like, you can't just be like, oh, I just did it. Like, you want to be like, okay, well, I had these 3 options. And this happens a lot. I find that with control decks, because I do play Control Modern, how I'm like, I have so many options because, for example, I have like a Snapcaster Mage, but then say I have like a Serum Visions in my graveyard and a Culligan's Command. And like some people will be like, oh, the option would be to Serum Visions because card advantage. And I'd be like, well, yeah, sometimes if you have like, if you desperately need a land or you're flooded or something.
We went through this with, Tracy and I played two-headed giant commander, and I was playing Mizzix.
Yes, I remember this.
My Mizzix deck is really good. It's basically, I'm really excited about it because it's like my best deck right now. But it's basically I bought the Mizzix deck and then I took it apart and took stuff out and added my own stuff. And it's a really fun deck to play because it's all cards that I love playing.
Yeah.
Which is why I like playing Commander. And we were playing Two-Headed Giant, so I was showing Tracy my hand and I'm like, there's like 8 things I could do this turn. I'm gonna do this first because I want more stuff. And it's one of the ones where I'm actually like, I actually have more than one thing that's an obvious thing for me to do, which it doesn't happen very often in my other decks, usually because I'm mana screwed, but you know.
Yeah, I think that's a very important note to think about control decks is like a lot of times, and I'm not just crediting that aggro decks aren't difficult to play, but a lot of times the lines of playing an aggro deck are, well, let's see, I'm playing Abzan aggro, and I've got Siege Rhino in my hand, I have 4 mana, and I have like 3 lands in my hands. I think I'm gonna play Siege Rhino. Like, it's a lot easier, I feel, a lot of times, but like control is like, again, that Snapcaster Mage is like, I have Snapcaster Mage and I could Serum Visions, but Culligan's Command, I know they have a 3-2 on board and they've got 1 card in their hand, so like I'm gonna Culligan's Command. You know what I mean? It's like those lines of play are like, I think it gets a lot more difficult when you play a control deck and you have options, or like, I need to keep the Snapcaster Mage because I need to hang on to it for a later instance or something.
For me, Mizzix is about, I want to staircase my mana cost because I want to make the most out of my experience counters. So I don't want to play my 1-drop on turn 5. I want to play it right away so I get the counter up, and then I want to play the 5-drop later on when I'm only paying 2 mana for it, but I still get to turn the experience counter up. Whereas in my Kraken deck, it's like, I just need to make mana, and then here's the giant thing.
Yeah, basically. And the decks are different, and that's totally fun, because it's what Magic is, so, yeah.
I'm also very proud of my Kraken deck, because that's one of the first ones where I sat down and I was like, I want to make a good Commander deck. Because I started playing Commander seriously when I came and I started playing with Tracy and everyone, so I was like, my first Commander deck is really bad. It's still pretty bad. I'm trying really hard to make it not bad.
It's just mill.
But the problem is it's a hard mechanic to do in Commander anyway, and it's not doing the good things that mill Commander deck should do. But anyway, my Kraken deck was the first deck I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna make a deck that's actually good and easy to use and it'll be fun. And I also was very strict about the flavor. before Prophet of Krupix was banned, Tracy was like, why isn't Prophet in this deck? And I was like, it's not a sea monster, I can't. And she's like, why isn't Prophet in this deck?
You're playing green and blue in EDH, you play Prophet of Krupix. You can't now, because it's banned.
Yeah, but nah, it wasn't a sea monster, so I knew better. But it's big monsters. Half the deck is mana ramping, and then the other half is playing the big monsters, and then you prime Speaker for like 8.
And you just draw a lot of cards. She's amazing. I love Prime Speaker. She's
pretty great.
She is.
I'm proud of it. The first time it did well in a Commander game against everyone, and everyone suddenly was like, oh, Demetri's the target player right now. I was so proud of myself. I immediately died because 3 people decided that I was a threat. But I was like, 3 people decided I'm a threat. That's awesome.
I love that feeling. Can I just say that? Like, whenever people go to target me, I'm never like, unless I'm being targeted because I have nothing on board, like, and I haven't done anything, and there's someone else that you can clearly target, and, like, they should be the target, then I get salty, but, like, I don't get salty when, like, people are like, oh, you have a big board. But I think, like, the difference between, like, that and, like, me the other night is when I was playing, guys, I had sweet stories about that night. Okay, so, like, I'm playing, right? Demetri made, arguably, I think, a misplay. As you kind of forgot about a little something.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, so I was playing my Cassidy deck, right?
You were going to do it anyway.
I had oh yeah, that's true. I had Dead Birch Chan on board, right? And so Dead Birch Chan's really sweet. So it says that when in ETBs, you put 10 cards into your graveyard. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you shuffle them up, and then you get to put a creature from, if you get a creature, it goes to the battlefield. If not, it just goes to your hand. It's just amazing card advantage. It's sweet. It's one of my favorite cards.
The wolf thing is what?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying though. So what happened is that I had Kessie Cage Breakers, which was one of my all-time favorite Magic cards, and it had Journey to Nowhere on it, so it was in exile. Demetri bounced the board, bouncing my Dead Bridge Chan, bouncing Kessie Cage Breakers stayed on the board, and all my other creatures bounced to my hand. So Kessie Cage Breakers, theoretically, I could play that or whatever. I had that on board, and then I replayed Dead Bridge Chan, got more creatures in my graveyard, and then just killed everyone. It was really sweet.
I mean, we didn't even finish the play. We were just like, oh yeah, that's back. We're just gonna.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is that I couldn't kill you both. Actually, no, I could kill you both in one turn. Yeah, I think I had exactly that damage on board.
But to be fair, I had 8 life, and I was just trying to save myself. So
yeah, exactly.
I was like, Stormtide Leviathan, everything go away, because Tracy still had a bunch of stuff. And I didn't have any blockers.
I think there was a way that I could have gotten a thing to exile the enchantment as well. I don't even remember. But
I don't remember. You were like, I had this in hand anyway. So
I think I had a Rock Sage in hand, so I could have blown up the thing, so, it was fine. But yeah, and then I had a Temporal Trespass, so if you guys managed to do something, I would have taken an extra turn, and then I would have,
So it was arguably a misplay, but it didn't matter. I wasn't going to live much longer.
I think I had a reason for telling this story. Yeah, like being the threat player, that's a really good feeling. Yeah, and I think, like, again, I think of what you're saying, like how that doesn't happen a lot for you, but when it does, it's definitely like a really significant sort of thing. And encouraging that, and like I said, when you always beat me, I get that one time I got really salty, but again, it wasn't salty to you. I was still, and I still am. Like, I was very proud of you because you did really well, and you kicked.
I'm always like, thanks, Tracy. When I went, it was Tracy and Lee, and everyone was like, why I'm decent at Magic now.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you can make an impact on, or someone has made an impact on you, like, I just think that's so amazing. And encouraged you and been like, hey, listen, you're not that good at Magic, but here, let me make you better. You know what I mean? We're all growing and we're all learning. And I feel like the people who are like, yeah, man, I'm so good at Magic, I don't need anyone's advice. It's just like, you're just not going to grow and you're not going to
That's when you're going to be stagnant. Yeah.
That's when you're going to be stagnant. Yeah, exactly. Good word choice. I like that word.
To me, being good at English.
Proud of you.
The moral of the story is, remember when you were a new player, be nice to new players.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm asking nicely.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
Check out my channel.
Yeah, I will. Alright.
Don't have magic stuff there.
Yeah, we talked about stuff.
Maybe I'll do magic stuff there.
Maybe. Alright. Bye, beautiful jellyfish.